Sauce. Perfect. Okay. Hi everybody. Today on ProjectPencilSnap is value studies, which is going to be a lot of fun. For those of you who are on my Patreon, there are two files that you will find. I have one loaded up here. This is page 1, and one loaded up here. This is page 2. For those of you who are printing them out, go ahead and do that. For those of you who are going to be using them digitally, like I am at the moment, what you want to do is you want to click on the layer that has the information on it, because this isn't see-through. This is like an actual white background. So like if it wasn't set to multiply and I tried to draw underneath it, you wouldn't see anything, but I was doodling things. So you want to make sure that you have this set to multiply, and what that means is only the darker areas will show up and everything else is not, and also everything that goes underneath it, this will be like a most of the time when you do shading layers in different projects, you set it to multiply because it darkens things. But that's for another time. So what you have in front of you is this. What is this? I see lots of boxes. I also see boxes with little nodes in them, and then a blank line. So we're going to go over the very first one. Make it super simple. So I'm going to do this quick. There we go. So we have black and white. And black and white is the very first sort of thing that you do in value study, is you understand this is 100% black and this is 100% white. So that is all there is. So if you go into here, now these are corresponding to each. Like there's a few extra. There's one extra. But what you want to do is go into the very first one, and you are only allowed to use black and white. If you're working with pencil, you can blur it, but predominantly we want to go for, like, anybody who's seen My Hero Academia, where All Might is in high contrast shadow, that sort of deal. So I'm going to, now you can erase, of course. And for those of you who are working with pencil, instead of holding your pencil normally to get all this, like you're scribbling into an SAT sheet, hold your pencil at about a 45-degree angle. So you're going to want to actually hold it differently so that your hand is on top. You use your pointer finger to like guide the end of it, and like cradle it in the rest of your fingers, and you use the flat edge, and so that way you keep the nice little point, and you can shade as hard or as soft as you like, and it covers a bigger area, and so it's all good. Hello, 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 hello. Yay! Pranks is able to join us again. Hello, my friend. We are working on value studies. Very first one is black and white. We were going to be moving on to other things, but yes, so let's just do a really simple, do a person, because of course I'm going to do a person, but going back to old habits and doing, oops, no, I do want to delete that, sketching things out first. Now you don't have to do super dark when you start off, when you're trying to figure out what it is that you're drawing, but you do want to be sure that by the end of it, it is what you wanted it to be, which is a high contrast drawing. And I'm going to be boring and have the the traditional 3/4 view person. Because of course I'm boring. Okay. Another thing to remember for just basic anatomy things is the back of the neck. Like when you're drawing a head, like you don't have to draw what I'm drawing. You can draw whatever you want, and then we're going to be doing it in complete black and white contrast. I'm just putting down a sketch so I know what exactly I'm drawing. Yeah, but when you do the back of the head, there's actually a flat part right at the base of the skull, and then it curves. And your ears normally are approximately there, because that's where the jaw is. Oops. But if you feel the back of your head, you have a very flat part. And I believe that is where the skull meets with the spinal column. So it has this like effect. And the curvature of the, yeah. We'll probably be doing some skeletal anatomy, in which case I'm going to try my damnedest to get Sam on, because Sam is super cool and way better at anatomy than I am, and I will have to be looking at references left and right. Because, yeah. But yeah, so you do actually have a flat part on your skull, but that is not the study for today. That's just a hot tip from me to you viewers. I still laugh when in the last one where I blew Sam's mind, going, bones curve? Yes, bones, they curve. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna take this very basic thing that I have sketched out for myself, and now we're gonna do the high contrast bit. So you want to make sure that all of your sketchy bits were very light, and then you go into just high contrast. Which for people who have layers, you have the luxury of just going boop, hide, boop, turn on, and then new layer on top, and then just do that way. Oops, nope, wrong size. As I said, this is high contrast, so you want to make sure that your shades are very dark and your light sections are very light. But because it's also high contrast, you want to make sure to remember things like reflective color, or reflective lighting and such things. Because while this area here is going to be very dark because this person's face I've decided is going to be in shadow, you still have things like bouncing light, which we'll get to in another episode later. So you still have the high contrasts. That is why you get certain things like the bridge of the nose, or not the bridge of the nose, the I don't know what this is called, the little divot in people's lips. That thingamabob. The thingamabob that does the job is bippity boppity boo. Never mind me. I'm just being silly. I was actually listening to some classic Disney stuff yesterday, music-wise, And then I remembered how much one of the songs crushes my heart, and I had to stop because even before I hit play, I started bawling like a small child. For those of you who don't know, Dumbo was a movie that like meant the world to me as a kid. And there's a song called Baby Mine, and that song is a guaranteed way to make me cry like a wee bab. Just straight up cry. But I was mostly listening to happy songs like the Aristocats, like Scales and Arpeggios, because it's cute. I like it. Can't really remember how the song goes off the top of my head, though. There's a couple songs that I remember off the top of my head, but not that one in particular. Do mi so do so mi do mi so do so mi do. Yeah. Something. Practicing, you will find your progress is encouraging. Do mi so mi, fa la so it goes, while you do your scales and your arpeggios. Something like that. Yeah. Now, as you can see, even when you're doing drawings like this, whenever you do sketches, don't feel obligated to only use what you've drawn. Like, if it doesn't look right, just don't use it. It's a reference. Same with our first lesson for ProjectPencilSnap. References are just guidelines. It's like that GIF of what's his face, Barbados from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's they're more like guidelines. I can't do a fucking pirate voice to save my frickin' life, but yeah, you get what I mean. If my old friends who I've unfortunately lost touch with was here, I would ask them for a cross-hatching tutorial, because goddamn, they are amazing when it comes to cross-hatching. Another neat thing to remember is there's a muscle that comes down from the throat, and the throat actually curves around it, and this muscle stands out. Just one of those things. I'm actually going to tone this down a little bit. And this is so messy. Mess up a little bit. Why am I reworking the eye? Because one is downwards tilted and the other one was upwards tilted, and that's no good. Make sure they're at least similar. I haven't even given this person hair yet. Whoops! Hello, Kitty Skylark. Cupid's bow? What's Cupid's bow? And I'm guessing by your nickname, Kid Skylark, you are a fan of Homestuck. I see you there. Did you know Hive Swap came out today? Oh, is it? Huh. Oh, that's very nice. Well, thank you. I did not know that. Cupid's bow. Wonder why it's called that. That's very interesting. Thank you. The fun fact of the day. Huh. Oh, there's 2 hours before the release. Oh, fuck. I would buy it, but I'm saving money for adult responsibilities, which is the biggest pain in the ass and worst part about being an adult. Absolutely, hands down. I can't buy my video games. At least the nice part about high contrast is when you get good at it, as you can tell from this, the light, which is a main thing that you want to keep in mind, is coming from, like, get rid of that. It's mostly forward. I'm trying to draw an arrow in 3D in a two-dimensional space, and that's not really helping me at all. But yeah, the light in my drawing is coming from here. So I am trying to keep that in mind when I put down where the shades are. That works a little more. But yeah, so that is where the light is coming from. That is what you need to remember in high contrast pieces, in all value studies, is where is your light? Where is the light coming from? Is it coming from above? Is there a backlight? Where is it coming from? And if you keep that in mind, I'm just gonna, well, if I move it, then it doesn't, delete that. I'll need it. If you bear in mind where it is, you'll know where you need to put the darker parts, and you'll need to know where the lighter parts are. So let's see. So because the light is, I'm pointing with my finger, like you can see what I'm problems with no live cam. I don't like my face on the internet, so I don't use a live cam. And props to people who do. I'm from the age of the internet where people are like, no, you don't know who's online. You can't do that. You don't know who will see you. So yeah, that's sort of, I'm old, leave me alone. But since it is coming in that sort of angle, the very top part here is going to be super thin because it's getting a lot of light. But underneath it, there's a lot of reflective light, which means not reflective light, there's a lot of shadow because like it's coming at an angle like this. Hello! Hello! Adulting defined when all the money was made. When you didn't have bills goes toward paying you bills you didn't have. Oh, yes. Sam! Hello, Sam! We are working on the first part of the value study, which is straight up high contrast, only black and white. And I am not going to be bothered to do the whole figure. So I'm just gonna take this, and because I can do things like that. That's the nice part about digital. Unfortunately, I can't do things like that in traditionally, unless I wanted to start all over. But yeah, so this is just, I'm going over high contrast pieces, dynamic lighting, how you need to remember your lighting source. If you missed the beginning, that's okay. It will be up on Twitch for however long Twitch deems it worthy. I'm not certain how long, because I'm not Twitch affiliate. I would very much like to be. I'm actually pretty close to the follower count. And I'm hoping to get some more live streams in so that I meet the quota. Because when I meet the quota, I would love to be able to get, like, donations and things and what have you. But mostly it's just don't be afraid to draw and erase, draw and erase, draw and erase when doing high contrast. Unless you're working in pen, and then I'm sorry, I can't help you. Oh, that was a little mean, I'm sorry. But no, like straight up high contrast, it's just stuff like this, where you remember where your light source is, and then you take it from there. You haven't missed very much. It's only been about half an hour, which means this stream is going to go on a lot longer than I thought it would be. So, oh well, thank you, Kid Skylark. I appreciate that. It's very kind. Yeah, a lot of the times with high contrast, unless you have really like prepped out where your sketch is going to be, you're not really going to be able to see it right away where it's supposed to go. I'm trying to keep this inside the bounding box. Damn it. But I am very hurriedly trying to finish this piece so we can move on to the next one. I believe that's right. Let's see. And as you can tell, this person has black hair, but I'm kind of thinking I like this great big old white space, specifically because it does provide that high contrast look that I was going for. But with hair, you want to make sure that make sure that it looks like there's like lines. Oops. You can clearly see this is tucked behind the ear. Yeah, it's not that bad. Here we go. High contrast. So this is just black and white. So that is one done. Now, of course, we have more than just black and white. We also have 50%. Oops, nope. Oops. Oh, we have 50% gray. And this should be about 50-50. And again, Sam, because I think you missed it, High contrast seem to be less forgiving for errors, or what I like to call line wander. High contrast isn't that bad if you're just doing like first, like what I did before was you sketch. I deleted the layer. Where you sketch it out and then like you do a sketch in like pencil or something that you can erase so you can get a basic idea, and then you just draw based on those guidelines. But now we have 3. So we have this is roughly in the center. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I'm not terribly worried. So we have 100% black, we have 50% gray, and we have 100% white. So we, oops, why did I delete my, there's going to be sketches. Make sure you don't do like me and you name your layers if you're working digitally. And okay, so for sketches, let's sketch something out. What are we gonna do? Yeah. First half, I think the most important thing that I mentioned was when you're working traditionally, you want to make sure that when you're shading, you hold your pencil at a 45-degree angle so that you can use the full side of the pencil instead of pressing down really hard like you're answering an SAT question on a Scantron sheet type thing. But yes, we can now do something else. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw. I should have just drawn a ball from the start of it, so that then I don't need sketch layer. I can just do this. So what I'm gonna do, very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a ball. And actually, let's pick a different light source. For this one, it went down this way, so that we're challenging ourselves. So let's say the light is coming from there, right? So all of this is super dark, and we're gonna just do to make sure that it's grounded. So this is our ball. And then, because like the light is hitting right there, so that is where the highest point of contrast, or it should be. So it's going to be less down there and more up here. And now, because this isn't a high contrast piece, you can start blending. If you were doing this traditionally, what you would do is take a smudge stick, or because you would also be doing like drawing just more lightly, but you can also take a smudge stick and just smudge it. And obviously I don't have a smudge stick, but I have tools at my disposal. And look at how much more depth we have here compared to the other one. There is a lot of dynamic lighting going on the first one. There is a lot. It looks cool. It does the job. But when you need there to be more variation, you need to do a thing like this. And if you're working in circles, make sure that you draw with circles, like curves, and it builds upon itself. But you want to also make sure that Okay, so this uses, that's just 3 colors, or 3 shades rather. And that's it. It's just smudges. The sphere of values! Yes. So this could use a little bit more work because it's very rough, but you get what I mean. And as I said before, remember reflective lighting. So like the most high contrast is going to be hitting this one spot, but you have what are called backlights, and they're never going to be as high contrast, but it's a nice touch when you notice them. And again, if you guys aren't drawing circles, that's fine. You can draw a dog if you wanted. You could draw a cat. You could draw another person. I started off with the most difficult thing to draw because I am an idiot. But yeah, we can do a thing like that. To make it, let's do this here. So I'm going to do really simple so that you can see. Now this is just me doing it digitally. Don't worry too much. I'm not trying to make you guys feel bad, like, oh no, they just started all over again, but I was so far along. This is just another example. You folks are perfect. You're doing so well. But yeah, this is just another example of how to draw so that you can see. Oops, not that. Contrast. Backlighting. Let's just give it a little bit of shape, I guess. Like that. And then for highlights are going to be super bright. Oops, not that one. And again, this is just another way of doing things. This isn't the only way of doing things. This is just like a way. But yeah, you can clearly see this is a light source. This is the contrasting source. Oops. But yeah, so without blurring, that's what it would look like. So yes, this is without blending. This is a 3-toned drawing. We are going to get to blending. That's oops. That is later on. But now that we have oops. Oops. I keep saying oops. Oops, oops, oops. Okay. So we need 50% between that and that. Okay. So now we have 4 different values of shade. So this is 2. This is 3. Now we're going to do 4. And I'm going to do a sketch so that I don't draw another ball, because I don't want to draw another ball. I'm going to draw a bird, because I had a dream last night with a bird in it. It was a weird and not very happy dream. So I will make a nice happy bird. Nice happy bird. That is safe and sound. Little bitty birdie drumsticks. Okay. So, in this we have, obviously we have straight black, but we also have these two as well. I'm just going to put them up here because it's easier for me to just go and grab it. Let's see, just bring this so you can just barely see it and then go to drawings. Alright. Oops. Oh. Let's see. No, it's okay. No, you can absolutely shade it. Like I said, it was a different way of doing it, where you're just using 3 and then you blend, where you don't have to. No, you didn't do it. There is no wrong way to art. There is no wrong way to art. Like that was the very first thing that I wanted to get across in the first Project Pencil Snap. There is no wrong way to art at all. Instead of doing harsh lines, let's do something a little different. So we're gonna have lighter lines on top of the bird's head. I'm actually gonna do this. I don't know much about bird anatomy as such, but yeah, we're working right now primarily with fields of value rather than like blending, and so me trying to do what I did before is entirely my fault. It's not on anybody but me, because I am not a very good teacher. Okay. So as we can see here, from the spots of white, oops, actually that's not quite right, and it doesn't. A really neat trick that I learned from making scales was to use the lighter color, and then you just go through it again with the darker color, so that you're not actually doing loop after loop after loop after loop, and they're kind of similar. At least more similar than if I had hand drawn all of them. We get to the higher contrast part. So I actually don't think this is 50% gray at all, but that's fine. Birds. Birds are hard to draw. Why did I want to draw a bird? There we go. It definitely has that dynamic sort of look about it, though, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, feathers are kind of a bitch. That's why when people do things like feathers and scales, fun fact, you don't draw all of them unless you're insane. Or at least I don't know too many people who will sit and painstakingly do all of them. Because you don't need to have all of them, kind of like I didn't draw every single strand of this person's hair, but you understand that this person has strands of hair. Do I want that color? Do I want this color? A neat trick is when things are far away, you can use lighter colors for what's called atmospheric color. Even though we're not actually working with colors at the moment, we are working with values. It's the same sort of dealio. I'm just gonna delete those. Delete that. And we have bird in 4. Now what we're gonna do is we are basically going to copy these, paste it, drag this down. Now we get to the fun bit where, as you can see, these aren't blocked off, but I want you to, on your canvas, merge them. Now we get to the blendy bit, and it's fun. Oh. Oops. As you can see, there are lots of colors in between the two. There's not just one. Oops, what are you doing? Yeah. But there's lots and lots of colors. This one. You just go back and forth a couple times, up and down, up and down, up and down, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oops. You should have something like this. The blendy bit. Yes, we're in the blendy bit. Now we are going into the blendy bit. And I would like you guys to use that on the next one. I'm going to sketches. So let's see. I think since we drew a bird, we need to draw, like, we are now obligated to draw a cat. And I have not looked up references for cats. Even though actually I have a cat right beside me. Hey kitty. Yeah? Yeah? She talks to me. Hello. Hello. Are you gonna just curl up there, or are you gonna be a mole? She's going back to sleep. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And it can be a cartoon if you want it to be a cartoon. Like, it just a thing to slap down value on. Rescaling. This is why I draw like this, but I don't. That's why I draw digitally and not traditionally. We are now obligated to make a cat. I don't make the rules. I just make the rules. Yes. You don't have to draw cats. Sam, you are more than welcome to draw your puppers. But yes, this is the blendy bit where we can reference our other image, which I'm going to try and get them both on screen at the same time. Which I think I can do. Oh yeah, they're maximized. Ah! What have I done? Okay. I don't need all the weight, as long as I can see it. Okay. There. Okay. So now I have my canvas to pick from, or my colors to pick from, and my canvas to work on. So if you're working digitally, this is the easiest bit, because then you can just go and like, do color picker, and you pick whatever colors in the middle, and you get like a variety. But let's see. I tend to start off fairly dark, and while I do tend to line my work, that's personal preference. Like, not everybody likes to line. Some people just like to slap color down, and that's how they do things, and that's really cool. And that's why we have so many amazing artists, because people don't do things all the same. Because if you did them all the same, what would be the point? What would be the point, everybody? Okay. There are just a few things you need to keep in mind when doing stuff like this. Mostly I'm gonna try and keep my actual drawing as the same sort of like solid colors for reasons. You are not obligated to do that. You can go ahead and do the blendy bit. This is just me picking from here for nefarious purposes. No, that's something else entirely. Just trying to get this to look right. Oops, not that color. That color. And remember, it's just blend and erase and blend and erase and blend and erase. Or if you're doing what I'm doing, like just drawing it out and just drawing over top of it. And don't be afraid to like. Don't be afraid that, oh no, I put down the wrong thing. It's not going to look right now. I messed up. It's like, okay, so keep going. Don't stop just because you messed up. Like, that's how you learn. You mess up. You keep going. Don't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. That's the kind of attitude you gotta have for art. But if your like wrist hurts or something like that, please do stop and know your limitations, because we do not want anybody to actually get hurt on this stream, please and thank you. I'm not liable for that. As you can see, Kitty Cat is already coming together, and I've been drawing colors from my palette as and when I need them for various things. Chrome has taken over the sketch. Next is your browser. Exactly. It will forever be my mantra, there is no wrong way to art. And that's when people say, like, oh, my art is bad, or I can't, like, I can't do it, I don't have the talent. And it's like, no, you gotta keep going. You don't stop. Keep going. You can do it. I promise. You can do it. Just don't stop. That is too dark, so this color is this color. So I need a slightly darker version without going as dark. And look how much better that is. There you go. Let me see how much of that. There we go. Yeah, it looks good. Whew, my ruler just moved and it made me jump. Okay. Yeah, it's slightly different color. Now these are kind of the value studies that I remember from back in school, was like doing stuff like this. These were the things that we did, and I hated them because I never thought I was very good at them. And guess what? When you stop practicing, you're not very good at a thing. Who knew? So yeah, I got better. It took me a while, but I got better at it. And I continue to practice to this day. And it is slowly making me a better artist. But yeah, you can't quit. And I think this looks pretty good for the most part. Stopping is forbidden. Gonna work till the pencil snap. Oh, why do you think it's called Project Pencil Snap? I'm kidding, of course. You guys can stop drawing whenever you would like. I am enjoying myself though. This is a lot of fun, and thank you all for joining me on this mad adventure through art that we're all on together. Yes, I would like to mention, make sure you are constantly referencing your value page, especially if you're working in 2D. Or sorry, not in 2D. The brain failed with actual pencils. Make sure that you are referencing your value scale that you've done, picking colors from your value scale. Or at least, you know, as close as you can to the colors, because unlike digital artists, I understand you can't actually pick up the color that you put down for a thing. Like, obviously you can't do that, so yeah, but just try and match on the value scale. Admiral Nash. Oh, well, we have another admiral that gets Sam to snap all their pencils. Who was, if I remember his name, was Sven Nikolai. What was his last name? Something or other. I have it pinned, but my Discord is turned off at the moment, so I can't recall. But he gave my vast crew a hard time, and it was funny. And Sam was not pleased. So many boundaries overstepped. Kelvin! That's what it was, Kelvin! I knew it was something scientific. But yes. He was Major Admiral Douchebag for the most part. And I love watching my players rage at me, because that's what makes my job fun. Aren't I a good DM? Aww, thank you. I will say, if you're worried about the fields of color being, like, you can always just, like, make it look scratchy like this, and like, break it up so it's not 100% smooth, because few things are like perfectly smooth. You get a little cross hatching in there if you need to. And I realized I did it again. I have a problem where I always put the light source in the same spot. Oh well. Oh well. That's something that I need to work on. Because I am still a growing artist myself. No one stops learning art. Nobody. Like, if somebody tells you that they have learned everything that they can possibly learn, they're lying through their teeth. There's no way to learn everything, because it's not possible. Who was it? I think it was Van Gogh. No, it wasn't Van Gogh. It was Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso, if you look back at some of his earlier works, are these stunning masterpieces that are just out of this world. Like, super accurate, true to life. They're amazing to look at. And then you start to see how he progressed into his more well-known works. And he said something to the tune of like, it took me 15 years to learn how to draw like a master. It took me a lifetime to learn how to draw like a child. Because kids have a completely different way of drawing things than adults do. And you can learn a lot from watching kids. And sometimes kids have much better, they fail on execution because they are still learning. But aside from that, they are amazing at a lot of conceptual things. Like, is this a later color? No, it's not. Okay. Like, there's an artist who, 4 years to paint like Raphael, but a lifetime to, yeah. I was close. I was close. But geez, if it took him 4 years to paint like Raphael, holy shit. Man had talent. But, yeah, so there's no wrong way to art. Just keep learning, keep at it, keep adding to it. Do not be, see, right here, I had a whole another section that could be made darker, and I almost didn't because I am scared of the dark. Scared of the dark. You shouldn't be scared of the dark, because the dark has a place. There's a reason for the dark. I don't think there would be as much on that side, but yeah. Do want tail to start off dark though. Anyway, I forget exactly where I was going with that story, but again, there's no wrong way to art. Everybody is still learning. Everybody's still trying to figure out what it is that they want to create, what it is that they want to do. So if yours doesn't look like mine, dude, that's fine. Like, if there are so many artists that I respect and look up to, and my art looks nothing like theirs. And that's fine, because their art isn't better than mine is. Their art's just different than mine. And oops, no, that's the same color. Hello, Socrates. It's good to see you. Sorry, it took me a minute to check chat. Why must all the GMs in my world be cruel, cruel gods? Have a good day, though. Well, I'm more interested in this DM pantheon. That sounds amazing. Little toe beans. The wee little toe beans. Gotta love them kitty toe beans. I believe you have missed about an hour and a half, dear. So just follow along as best you can. Don't worry too much about it. I don't know if you're in the $15 tier of my Patreon anymore or not, but that's where the original sheets, oops, if I can, these sheets here, oops, not the sketch, the bounding boxes, and on this one where the, actually I should just, there we go, where these two came from. Yes. Oops. Yeah, this one. So you don't need the whole thing, just need that much. There we go. I think we have a cat of a sort. Probably just hide that. There we go. Kitty! He's a kitty. Here we go. Alrighty, so that's that one. The next ones would be more of the same, where let's go back to this one. This full size. Okay. So I'm going to grab this. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be able to. Okay, so we have on one side of this one here 100% black, and we have on the other side 100% white. But as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 by the little nodes. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 in this one. So what I want you to do is grab colors throughout, or at least approximate Here we go. And look, we have value scale. That's a pretty damn good one too. You guys can see from the blurry bit, we have one of these. And we can take that down here, and then blur the heck out of them and get even more contrast. There we go. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it stayed inside the bounding box. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Oops. We have it nice and blurred, and it should more or less make a nice gradient. And then without the little dividing bits, oops, let me just do. So this is black, and this is white. And I know you can't really see it, but that's fine. And then just make one that works for you. It doesn't have to be exact, it doesn't have to be as many, just whatever fits you best. And that one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. This is about the only one that works. Alright. And for these ones, I want you to try and make it as like a seamless blend as possible from one color to the next color. It's actually much easier to do when you're doing it with a pencil than it is to do it digitally for this. The problem is you always get little bars that aren't quite right. There we go. There. So by the end of it, this is what your sheet should look like. And then the rest of them are for you to fill out as you'd like using those other lines. What do you guys think so far? Pardon me as I have a drink. Yes. So now I think what I'm going to do is actually use the blendy bits and do just the blendy bit thing. Oops, nope, wrong layer. Actually, everybody does circles. I'm going to do cube. Tribute to you, Sam Riegel will do the cube. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I'll show you guys a really cool trick for doing cubes that I didn't realize not everybody knew how to do this. Draw 2 squares, or at least as like roughly squares, and have them intersect so that you have another square / rectangle on the inside. Boop, 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 boop. And you erase what you don't want, and you have made a cube. Easy set. This is more of a rectangle, so I'm going to cheat and pull it out, and it absolutely is cheating, and I don't care. I'm going to make this. I'm going to start doing the actual blendy bits on this one. Just make sure that your lines are properly parallel, because if they're not, if this angle is different than this angle, then it's not an actual cube. So this angle, this angle, this angle should all be the same. This angle, this angle, this angle should all be the same. This angle, this angle, this angle should all be the same. And this one is slightly off. Which means this is slightly off. There you go. Okay. So the very first thing for blendy bits for this is you have to throw down the color fields in order to actually get them. When I'm drawing, what I tend to do is I put down a neutral gray for the background, or sometimes a darker gray, and that way I know if my values are alright. Because if the values don't work out super great, then I'm doing something wrong. Let me blend. Blend, blend like the wind. And remember to check the values around what you're working on to try and make sure that it is the same. I'm gonna make this side, oops, just fill it in. This side's gonna be the light side. Which means that's gonna be really thin. Which means this is gonna be the darkest part here. Neat trick with, you can do this with Paint Tool Sci and Photoshop, is if you click and then you move your mouse and you hold shift and then you click again, it'll make a line. And you can do that as many times as you want. It'll just go from the same point. But if you've got like rounded edges on a cube that you don't want, you delete them like that. Nope. Sizing the brush is the brackets, the ones that look like this. So the little bracket is smaller, the big bracket is make it bigger. Now, as you notice, I've used this mid-tone as in both the brightest one and in the darkest one. Now, why would I do that? Well, because it's the mid-tone. I mean, that's why you need to have it, is because it's the middle. Okay. So we've got a lot of light hitting right here. That means this is probably going to be straight up, and this would be a white line here. Let's grab the, oops, grab the lighter color, because it's going to be here. I'm not worried about the black line in the back because I'm planning on erasing it the same way with this trick. Oops. Oop. This would catch some of that. This probably separates that. Oops. This box's corners are not as nice and neat as I would like them to be, but I can't draw a straight line to save my life. There you go. And check that out. And if it's not quite right, I can cheat, because of course I can cheat. A little bit more to that. Oops. cube. A blendy bit cube. But it has full on white and it has full on black. And I will leave this tutorial there, I think. And when you all finish filling in your little squares, make sure to post them on Twitter under ProjectPencilSnap. But I'm gonna wrap it up here, because you all have the knowledge. You know what's what. So, I'll leave it to you. Thank you for coming, everybody. Maybe we'll see. I would say hang on to these when you're finished with them. Make sure not to throw them away, because we might be using these for the next one, which I think is going to be along the same lines. We're going to be doing a little more color theory. And if I'm contemplating whether or not it should be digital only, because there's some neat tricks with layers that we can do, and like how to paint a black and white picture using, here, I'll show you. Yes, I'll show you a thing that you can do. I'm going to layer clip this real quick. Blue. Oh, well that didn't, because it's not set to overlay. Look what happened. Look what happened. Turn them all blue, but it didn't work on the black. Why did it not work on the black? We shall find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Yes, so I'll see you guys. Take care. If you haven't, if you did this traditionally, then that's fine. We'll just do a whole new round. I will give a brief overview for people working digitally, but it's going to be a brand new thing. So look out for it on Twitch. Please, please, please post your value studies on on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch if you haven't. And my Patreon is Spoiled Chestnut, just like everywhere else on the interwebs. But yes, look forward to it. Color theory next time. Thanks again. Bye.